We spoke about this at length yesterday. We started off the show with it. An hour and a quarter in, we were still talking about it. The European Super League has used a landmark court ruling to relaunch with a new format. But what's happened after that announcement yesterday? The UK government says it will block Premier League teams from signing up to another breakaway competition. The government might not have to do that because the Big Six, so-called, way back in 2021, who came out and said, yeah, we fancy this, and are saying, no, we don't. 5 of the 6 have said it's not for us. Only Liverpool have yet to make a statement on that. Arsenal were the latest ones to come out and say this isn't for us. But even if it was for them, the man at the top of UEFA, the president, Alexander Ceferin, says they can create whatever they want. I hope they start their fantastic competition as soon as possible with 2 clubs. I hope they know what they're doing, but I'm not so sure about that, says Alexander Ceferin, the 2 clubs in question being Barcelona and Real Madrid. Simon, this thing's dead. You said to us yesterday, a whole lot of talking and a whole lot of chat will now happen.
Yeah.
This seems dead.
Well, I mean, the media have a habit of infantilizing conversations and turning it into a binary situation.
Nothing to do with the media.
What did you think was going... Well, we're running this cycle that all of a sudden, because they've managed to overcome the barrier to suggest that UEFA say, you don't get to do anything. We get to monopolise, we get to deal in the area of anti-competition, and we get to decide, judge, jury and executioner of every single twist of the wheel in football. That's the only thing that's changed. I didn't expect there to be a deluge of football clubs either putting their heads above the parapet or responding to this situation because they've got nothing to respond to. I don't imagine sitting on the desks of all the football clubs in the country is the commercial deal of the structure of this league. I don't imagine that currently exists in the
But they've got plenty to respond to. And the response is count us out.
No, they've got plenty to respond to in the eyes of the media. And what's only happened is a judgment has determined that it was illegal for UEFA to be able to block and consequence football clubs and players themselves.
At that time, with that current structure. Then.
Under the current structure. Now, UEFA had pivoted and adjusted their rules as a matter of course, and so they should. And I'm not suggesting, and have never suggested, that we have to be completely and utterly believing in the European Super League, but it should be on the table to be a discussion. And if it makes UEFA have to step up even harder and faster and become a better organisation because they've now got competition, I would have thought most people in football would have thought that was a good thing.
So who are they going to discuss it with, apart from Barcelona and Real Madrid?
Well, I would imagine they're going to work up their proposals. They're going to work up every aspect of every nuance and every peculiarity, every financial step, every financial opportunity, every structuring things, and keep on working it until they get to the point where they have an offer that's far more acceptable than the current premise of we've got ourselves in a position where we are now able, without being blocked by UEFA, to be able to start to move to a commercial structure. Right now, it's a bag of gobstoppers and a few brand names, and it's nothing more than that. And what we're doing is we are infantilising it by suggesting that, and Liverpool have said this, and Man United have said this. Well, of course they're going to turn around because they haven't popped their head up. A journalist has gone, and what do you say? No,
they haven't. They put out statements themselves.
As a result of being asked.
They put out statements.
As a result of being asked.
No one's asking them. They're putting forward statements.
Of course they're being asked.
The European Super League needs is participants, right?
The first thing any good journalist would do, the moment they got a look at this, which most of the time try and understand what they're looking at, which would take them a significant amount of time, and maybe Henry Winter's still doing that. And then the next question would be, okay, let's ask the protagonists as to what their position is. And of course people's position is on the back of it's just a judgment. It's just a judgment. And of course A22 are going to media focus it and turn around and go, look at us now. We're now going to start putting some energy in our sales. But we are a long way away from a commercial proposition that would change the minds of the clubs.
Do you feel it's inevitable, though? That
I've always felt that it was inevitable.
So this is a really good day, then, for the clubs?
I think it could be. I think the only thing about it that was a bad day...
The rich just not get richer.
But isn't that the life that we live in? Isn't that the football world that we're talking about? Isn't that the nature of the Saudi involvement? I get back
to this, so in all honesty, the day after the announcement was made that the Super League had used this landmark court ruling to relaunch with a new format.
Yes.
And we saw them all bells and whistles yesterday. This is what we've got. This is what it's going to be. You need clubs to play in the damn
Well, of
thing.
course you do.
Barcelona and Real Madrid are saying, yeah, they will. Liverpool haven't said anything yet. The other 5 of the so-called top 6 here are saying count us out.
Because at this moment in time, they're not contending with you. You have no idea, and neither do I, what the commercial proposition may well be sitting on the desks of those that have the positions of influence inside football clubs. At this moment in time, I would suggest it's nowhere near a commercial proposition that would attract the elite football clubs. What they're doing is they're getting traction. The first thing they had to do was overcome the legal restrictions that were put on them by the anti-competition and monopoly laws, which they've now done. The next thing, of course, now they're going to sing. They're going to have a big fanfare about the fact they've overcome UEFA's block, and now they're going to start building up. Now we'll see where that goes and what it takes us. But did anybody really? Nobody, even the most obtuse and opaque of journalists, really felt that after this was announced, that all of a sudden all the clubs were going to announce their interest. Of course they're going to turn around and say, where we are, nothing's changed.
Jim, Real Madrid and Barcelona, obviously, that they look at with envy, don't they, what's happening in the Premier League as to the wealth that we have.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
I don't think this is about competition.
But
this
do
is
they?
about money again now.
But let me ask you a question. Do they? Because Real Madrid turn over much more money than 95% of the football clubs inside the Premier League, with the exception of one or two.
On their behalf.
It's opportunity. It's
Simon,
evolution.
They failed first time and they failed this time. That's what it's looking like. Surely there's a message, and whoever's quoting it remembers you saying this. It's deader than a dead thing from Deadland, Simon.
That was Newcastle.
Of course.
No one could have foresawn that the Saudis were going to cop to their piracy and pay out £1 billion to the people that they pirated the Premier League signal from.
So I'll put you on the spot.
So
will
with
the
that
Super League happen?
Yeah, I think it will. I don't know in what guise.
With English involvement?
I think probably, yeah. Well, do I think it will happen tomorrow? Do I think it will happen in the next 6 months? Probably not. But do I think that something of this will manifest itself out of this? Yes, I do. Do I think the UEFA will be forced to pivot and change their attitude towards certain things? Yes, I will. Yes, I do believe that. So I think it's a good conversation. People think it's... I mean, it's a ridiculous notion. All of a sudden, it's all about greed. When has it not been about greed? When has it not been about greed?
So Sefrin's wrong. They can create whatever they want. I hope they know what they're doing, but I'm not so sure about that.
But what would you do? What would you do if Sefrin? I mean, what would you do if you were Sefrin? Would you turn around and say, "Well done for getting that judgment that we tried to block. Well done for the fact that we were trying to make the sport anti-competitive and we're trying to monopolise it. We're going to ridicule you because that's what you do."
But there was such an outpouring, wasn't there, last time round? We think of the Manchester United fans, the Arsenal fans, everyone was up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how do you turn that around?
But why? I tell you, and again, Jim will bristle at this, because the hysteria and the superlatives that were put forward were based upon something that was not quite representative. First and foremost, when did anybody of the 6 Premier League clubs that were attached to this say they were leaving the Premier League? They never said a thing.
No, they never said that.
And that was all of a sudden, that was a half-truth.
But they hooked their wagons to it. Early doors last time, and now they're not doing it this time.
No, because it's nowhere near a proposition that will get them to the table.
Well, Arsenal in the
one.
last hour, or the latest of the so-called top 6, to say, not for us. Our position in relation to the European Super League has not changed. We'll continue to play in UEFA competitions, say Arsenal.
Until we have something far more compelling.
Damn it, you get in at the end. It's 10:30.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.